Children are brought here by coyotes and lots of bad people, cartels, and they're brought here, and they used to use them to get into our country. We now have as strong a border as we've ever had. We're over 400 miles of brand new wall. You see the numbers, and we let people in, but they have to come in legally, and they come in through merit.
But how will you reunite these kids with their families,
Let me just tell you,
Mr. President?
they built cages. You know, they used to say, I built the cages, and then they had a picture in a certain newspaper, and it was a picture of these horrible cages, and they said, look at these cages. President Trump built them, and then it was determined they were built in 2014. That was him.
Do you have a plan to reunite the kids?
Yes, we're working on it we're trying very hard. But a lot of these kids come out without the parents. They come over through cartels and through coyotes and through gangs. They are so well taken care of. They're in facilities that were so clean.
But some of them haven't been reunited
But
with their
just ask
families.
one question. Who built the cages? I'd love you to ask him that. Who built the cages?
Let me ask about your immigration policy, Mr. Vice President. The Obama administration did fail to deliver immigration reform, which had been a key promise during the administration. It also presided over record deportations as well as family detentions at the border before changing course. So why should voters trust you with an immigration overhaul now?
Because it made a mistake. It took too long to get it right. It took too long to get it right. I'll be president of the United States, not vice president of the United States. And the fact is, I've made it very clear. Within 100 days, I'm going to send to the United States Congress a pathway to citizenship for over 11 million undocumented people. And
guys, I'm going to tell you, that debate clip right there will go down in history. It's probably the one of the most important debate exchanges that I've ever seen, because that right there is predictive programming, guys. I mean, Trump told us, he said, listen, these kids are being brought here by coyotes. You know, they're being smuggled, right? They're being used as props, right? And there's a illegal market for these kids, okay? And that is the reason why you have to have strict border policy. It's about protecting the country. It's about not incentivizing these bad people to create illegal markets that are going to harm people, okay? It's going to be bad for these kids, and it's going to be bad for this country, right? Our American citizens, who Trump is looking after first, okay? Now, Biden announced that, hey, as soon as I get in office, the first 100 days, I'm going to legalize 11 million undocumented immigrants, okay? Biden gave an invitation for illegal immigrants to show up to the borders, letting the world know, if I'm elected, come on, come one, come all. Open borders, open border Biden, right? And guess what? Lo and behold, we have a border crisis, folks. We have 3,250 kids, right, that are separated from their families, that are arriving alone. Kids arriving alone, okay? Not with family. They're arriving alone at the border. And this has tripled, okay? Tripled over the past few weeks, and it's steadily increasing, okay? How do you think this is happening? Because of illegal markets, because of the things that Trump said, okay? This is what Trump said. Biden tried to call him a liar, okay? Tried to say, oh no, all of them are arriving with parents, and then they're being separated. No, sir. No, sir. That's not necessarily true. Because right now we see these kids are not arriving with their parents. They're arriving by themselves, okay? Because Biden and his open borders promises and his promises of citizenship has created an illegal market where kids are being smuggled into this country. We also have border crossings are up to 100,000 plus people, up 28% from last month. 28%, over 100,000 people, folks, right? And this is happening under the Biden administration. Cages have been opened back up. These jail cells that the Democrats wanted Republicans and the right to boohoo and cry over under Trump, that were actually built on Obama, that Obama used, right? The deporter in chief, okay? That's what they called him. Biden opened them back up. At first, they tried to keep the capacity limits to about 50% because of COVID. But now so many of them are coming, they can't do it anymore. They got to make them 100%. So they're stuffing all these children right, together, right, in these cages. They're implementing catch and release. They're letting these people in. They're catching them and then they're releasing them into the country while they wait until the U.S. makes a decision about their immigration status. And they're going all over the country. In regards to the pandemic, that's the Democrat framing, not mine. I'm just using their own framing against them because it's a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. It's the worst thing ever. So we probably shouldn't be letting people that's testing positive for the virus into this country, but that's what we're doing. And it is severely putting a strain on border towns in Texas. Guys, this is the current state of this administration when it comes to immigration, guys. And it really is a crisis. And I'm telling you, this right here, guys, is going to be part of the reason why the Democrats could lose in 2022. Because I've said it. I think the Democrats, at least when Biden took office, had a 3-1 lead over the Republicans. Everything was going well for the Democrats. All they had to do is just get $2,000 stimulus checks, right? Don't mess up anything, okay? And just chill, right? Execute on some of their promises. That's all they had to do. They probably keep winning. But because they messed up on everything, they've broken all of their promises. They've created a crisis at the border. It looks like the GOP, they might actually make a comeback in 2022. They're going to make a comeback because the Democrats are just this bad. They've screwed up so much, okay? So let's listen to Jen Psaki here discuss the Biden immigration policy and the crisis at the border because apparently we can't get anything from Biden. So Jen Psaki apparently is running the country now. So let's listen to her talk about this.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. You've been telling migrants from right there for a month now, all the way back to February 10th, that now is not the time to come, but they are coming in bigger numbers every day. So do you have a messaging problem?
Well, I would say that in the last administration, we had a morality problem. And
see, I hate this. I hate the morality argument for immigration. I really do. Because if it's about morality, that anybody that shows up to the border, regardless of the reason why they show up, right? If they say, I'm hungry, right? If they're from Mexico, Brazil, Canada, no matter what country they're from, if they show up and say, I'm hungry, I can't eat, I can't take care of myself in this country, we got to let them in, right? We can't let some people in and then kick other people out if it's about morality. This is not about morality. This is about protecting the American citizens. This is about protecting our borders. This is about having a sovereign country. That's what it's about. It's not about morality. And I'm sick and tired of this morality argument. Because if you want to get in philosophy of morality, we can get into philosophy of morality. Because the current administration's policy is not moral. Okay? It's not moral to let some people into this country illegally while others that are trying to do it the right way legally, who we have vetted to make sure our American citizens are going to be safe, to make them wait, but let others in. That's not moral. So don't sit here and talk to me about a morality problem. Because again, if you want to get into the philosophy of morality when it comes to immigration, we can go there.
children were being pulled from the arms of their parents, and kids were being sent back on a treacherous journey. And that's not the approach of this administration. So certainly we understand that means there will be more kids who are crossing the border. We made a policy decision that was the right, humane step to take. But I think it's also important for people to understand that the vast majority of people who come to our border are turned away, are sent back to their countries. What we're talking about here are unaccompanied children, and what our focus is on is ensuring that there are safe places for these kids to go, that have access, where they have access to educational resources, health and medical attention, legal assistance as needed, and that we can expedite the vetting so that they can get to families and sponsors where they can have their cases adjudicated.
But since the last administration is gone, tomorrow is 50 days of Biden. There are migrants showing up wearing T-shirts that say, "Biden, please let us in." And candidate Biden is the one who said, "I would end this notion for the first time in history that people seeking asylum have to be in squalor on the other side of the river." Why doesn't he come out and just say, now is not the time?
Well, he actually did an interview with Univision about a week and a half ago where he conveyed a similar message, and we've conveyed that at every opportunity that we have. I will say we are, as you noted, almost 50 days in. We are digging ourselves out of a broken and dismantled system. Roberta Master Jacobson referenced this in her opening as well. When it comes to engagement with countries addressing the root causes, we couldn't start doing that until January 20th. There are programs like the relaunching of the Central American Minors Program, which was ended by the prior administration in 2017, and that meant that that program, which would have allowed for people to apply from the region, we had to restart that program. So we're working to fix the mess of the last couple of years. It's going to take some time, but this is clearly a priority for the president. We're looking at a range of options, which include the opening of additional facilities. It includes steps we can take to expedite the processing. It includes application and implementation of these CDC guidelines that just came out that allow for more children to be housed safely in these facilities. So we're looking at every option possible to help address the challenges we're facing at the border.
That sounds like a load of crap. Because, the funny thing is they always try to frame this as if we're trying to fix the problems of the last administration. First of all, stop blaming the last administration. Because Trump, under his policies, whether you like them or not, Trump did not encourage people to come to the border. His policies was there specifically to prevent people from trying to do it. And that's the right approach. It's the right approach because we cannot have people coming into this country illegally. We don't know who they are. We don't know who they're from. We don't know what their intentions are. We have to protect Americans first. And for whatever reason, Democrats don't understand this very simple concept. They don't understand this very simple concept. So when people want to talk about Trump's immigration policies, oh, he's inhumane, he's a bad person, blah, blah, blah. Quite honestly, I can't say I necessarily disagree because, again, you have to disincentivize people from coming. If you're telling people that, hey, if you send your kids over here, we're going to make sure they have a nice home. We're going to get them medical treatment. We're going to get them to a nice American family that's going to take care of them. What do you think that's going to do? That's going to encourage everybody to be like, you know what? I'm going to send my kids to America. I'm going to pay smugglers to send my kids to America and have them show up at the border unaccompanied, just like what's happening right now. Because Biden went on national TV and told the world that our borders are open. That's what he did. And this is what is happening. And it's not a coincidence that it's happening under the first, 50 days of his administration. But they don't want to take responsibility for it. You have a messaging problem. You had a messaging problem ever since the Democrats ran during election season trying to get them Hispanic votes. And again, guys, I talk about Hispanic votes a lot. I have nothing against my Hispanic brothers and sisters. I have nothing against Hispanic folks, right? I'm just pro legal immigration, right? I'm a straight Republican on this issue, okay? I'm very Republican on this issue, except, some Republicans like illegal immigration because they like the cheap labor for the companies that fund their campaigns. But that's another story for another day. Again, guys, it's just a shame. It really is. It's a shame that the Biden administration doesn't want to take responsibility for their messaging, for the fact that they have encouraged people to come to this border. They've encouraged illegal immigration, and now they've created a crisis. And during this crisis, they don't want to acknowledge that it's a crisis. They don't want to take responsibility for the same things that they criticized Trump for, right? They criticized Trump for having kids in cages. Lo and behold, Biden comes into office. He opens up the same facilities where these kids are literally being held in cages, in jail-like facilities. But the Democrats are ignoring that. All of a sudden, you don't have AOC crying at these detention centers anymore. All of a sudden, it's humane now because it's done under Biden. Nothing's fundamentally changed. Still the same exact facilities. They haven't even said they renovated them, right? They haven't even said that. They haven't even tried to pretend like it's not the same thing. It's the same thing. You get what you vote for, right? You get what you vote for because, right now, guys, for as much as the Democrats love to talk about the pandemic this, the pandemic that, staying safe, not spreading COVID, why are we letting these immigrants in during a time like this? Right? I understand the Democrats want a Hispanic vote. I understand that they want to, basically snatch and grab millions of votes through legalizing undocumented immigrants. I understand that. But now is not the time for that, right? Now is not the time for that in the middle of a pandemic. It kind of makes what they say about the pandemic really hold a lot less weight than it already does. It makes it seem like you put your own political agenda ahead of everything else. It makes it seem like the whole pandemic rhetoric was just a political agenda in the first place. That's what it makes it seem like. Because really, under everything they've said about this pandemic, it does not make sense for them to pursue a policy like this. It would make sense for them to do it in 2 years. But see, they don't want to wait 2 years. They want to do it before 2022 because they're trying to get them votes. They're trying to get them votes. And this is how politics works, guys. Politicians will do anything they can to protect their jobs. They work for themselves. They don't work for you. They don't work for us. They work for corporations and they work for themselves. As long as they can keep their jobs and keep the money coming in, they good. They don't care about who it harms. They don't care about the American people. So anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.